Unfortunately, the day is finally here. The Trump tariffs have actually been passed on Canada, and Canada has also retaliated with a two-stage tariff plan against US on all their imports. So the real question is going to be, how is this going to impact the Calgary real estate market in 2025? And also, how is it going to impact other markets around Canada? Because obviously they have a dependency and there are going to be knockoff effects from one province to another. Now, if you're interested in topics like this, make sure you also check out my other video, which I put out about a month ago. That one goes a lot more in depth, specifically to look at the macroeconomic factors of the province and how we would perform if the tariffs were to be applied. And now, of course, they have. And now we have a lot more information that I had back then, but it gives you a good overall picture. In this particular report, what we are going to do is we are going to cover how I think things are actually going to play out now that we have the exact figures and timeline. But before we get started, hey guys, it's Iyer, your Calgary Realtor, and I love serving clients in the Calgary real estate market to help them better understand how the economy and political situation is going to play out over the next few years. We take the data very seriously to understand how they can make better decisions going forward, whether they're looking to buy, sell, or invest. So if that's you, and if you are looking to make a move in the Calgary real estate market in the next 6 to 12 months, definitely reach out. I always tell everyone, you want as much time as possible on your hands. You do not want to make a last minute decision because there's a different game plan depending on what you're planning to do in the Calgary real estate market. Now, of course, with the Trump tariffs being announced, there is panic on the streets. Buyers, sellers, all wondering what to do. The general sentiment for buyers is quickly to back off. A lot of buyers that I have conversations with are already active and looking at properties on a day-to-day basis all of a sudden say, I do not want to look for any more properties right now. I want to see how this plays out. But guess what? So are the other 1,000 buyers saying the exact same thing. So what does that do? That drives the market sentiment down in the demand side. What's happening on the supply side? And that is for sellers. Sellers are also panicking. So sellers who were anticipating to sell in the next 1, 2, or 3 months, all of a sudden are hearing the word recession, are hearing the word crash, and they want to get out. So they want to sell their property as soon as possible. What does that create? That creates an imbalance. All of a sudden, you're going to get panic sellers come onto the market, and at the same time, you're going to get buyers back off. So who is going to benefit on all of this? Of course, it's going to be the buyers who stay for the next 2 to 3 weeks in the market. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Like Warren Buffett says, when there's blood in the streets, that's when you want to be finding good opportunities. You do not want to ride the euphoria, and that's what we saw in the last 2 to 3 years. And that's what led to the incredible gains that Calgary has seen, but also priced out so many buyers in the exact same amount of time because everyone was rushing into the market at the same time when we didn't have enough listings. But now there's a key opportunity since there's panic on the streets for the next 2 to 3 weeks. If you are a buyer, you would actually be able to put a lot of low ball offers and just see what you can get. You can take advantage of this situation because if you are looking to move in the Calgary real estate market anyway, why not give this a shot? And if you are a seller, then I'm going to tell you what I'm telling all my sellers right now. Do not list. Take some time off, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even a month to really figure out where the sentiment is going to land after the dust has settled. And then you can get on the market and price your property correctly based on that situation. If you list your property right now, you are going to join the entire crowd of sellers who are trying to get onto the market right now in the panic that they might not get the value that they're looking for. But guess what? It's already going to be too late. Another point that almost no one is talking about is how the Trump tariffs are going to affect each province very differently. And the 3 key provinces that I want to talk about on this video are Ontario, BC, and Alberta. Now in Ontario and BC, they're already having way worse off markets than Alberta as far as the last 1 year goes, and especially the last couple of months. The amount of inventory that's been building up, the high levels of uncertainty, and almost all properties selling under list price. There is a lot of panic in the streets just to start with. Now, with all the pain that's already been experienced in these provinces, the Trump tariffs is going to throw a wrench completely into their economy, and we're going to see more of a downward spiral in their industries. So when we talk about Ontario, they are heavily dependent on the manufacturing sector, especially in the car industry. And the lumber exports from BC, together with all the mining resources and other precious metals that is being sent, is heavily going to affect the jobs in these markets. Over the past 1 month, the mortgage delinquencies and credit defaults and mortgage arrears have doubled and tripled in Ontario. That has been happening together with another trend that, again, I noticed is the rise in vendor take-back mortgages, which is seller financing for buyers that allows them to then bypass the bank. And we have not seen vendor take-back mortgages at this high of a rate in Ontario since the 90s, which was the previous crash. So with the expectation of higher amounts of unemployment in Ontario and BC, especially Ontario, where do you think all those people are going to move? They're going to move to where the employment opportunities are. And this is another very interesting fact to keep in mind, is during the 2017-2018 crash in the oil industry, a lot of people moved from Alberta to Ontario. And where did they move to? They moved to the car industry because that's the closest related industry. But now, if there's high amounts of unemployment in the car industry, where are they going to go? They're going to go back to Alberta, back home, and back to the industry that they know, and that will have employment opportunities ready for them. So what I'm expecting to see for 2025 is, again, an increase of inter-provincial migration, especially from Ontario, as a lot of people move back home to Alberta, where they were from before, and back to industries that they know. Now, this leads me directly to my next point, which I'm seeing as a trend right now, is a rise of inter-provincial investors. So I'm seeing a lot of investors again start now from other provinces, especially Montreal and BC, trying to invest in Calgary as they see their local markets suffering and the rental situation not being that great. So a lot of people still find Calgary a great place to invest because the numbers absolutely do work, and they're trying to find cash flowing opportunities or opportunities to renovate and fix up properties to then add value and take advantage of the low prices that we still have in Calgary. My fourth point is the big question for 2025. After all these tariffs, inflation, recession, stagflation, the one big question that lies for Canada, and that's going to determine where the economy goes going forward, is the Loonie versus the housing market. Which of these two are actually going to be the sacrificial lamb that will allow the economy to stabilize? And what do I mean by this? So if the interest rates continue to getting cut, which I'm sure they are, especially for March, and RBC even expects interest rates to go down all the way down to 2% by end of year, if that happens, that is going to be at the cost of the Loonie. The Canadian dollar is going to drop for sure. The only other alternative is to allow the housing market to crash and correct, which I know a lot of people will call out for and want to happen. But unfortunately, I don't think that's a way that's going to go forward, because the government is not going to allow the largest store of wealth of Canadians to just be wiped out overnight, because a lot of people do depend on that, including retirement funds. And so that leads me to my final point, which is the rate cuts. The next rate cut is due for March 12th, and it is almost 100% certainty right now that we will see a rate cut on March 12th. And how do you think that is going to affect the buyer sentiment? So the market report that I'm going to put out tomorrow, you will see that the buyer sentiment has already started going up for Calgary. There are more buyers in the market. Even though there was an increase of new listings, the inventory has pretty much stabilized. And for every product type, there's a lot of buyers right now in the market. The trend of people paying below list price has changed to now above trend line. So people are paying above list price and multiple offers on great properties. So if that is the underlying sentiment for the last 1 month, the Trump tariffs definitely will put a pause on that, which provides you that opportunity as a buyer to get in and try and get a good deal right now. And if you are a seller, you definitely want to hold off for the next 2 to 3 weeks, because even though that trend line has started going up and people are paying above list price, it won't continue for the next 2 to 3 weeks, as there's more panic on the streets, like I called out. And so you're going to want to wait. But if you're a buyer, do not hesitate. I'm telling you, reach out right now, because once things return back to normal and people start having more confidence in the Calgary real estate market again, which was already there for the last 1 month, then we are going to see a very strong spring market. Of course, nothing compared to what we saw in the last 2 3 years, But what happened in the last 2 to 3 years in Calgary should never be the normal anyway. If you found value in this video, definitely like and subscribe to this channel. Even if you're not planning to make a move right now, the videos I put out on this channel would be extremely helpful to you when you are planning to make a move. And it has been such an amazing opportunity to have this channel over the last couple of years, because every single client that I get from the YouTube channel tell me how grateful they are and how much it helped them to understand the market better. So I look forward to helping you. Again, if you're looking to buy, for sure reach out, because there might be some amazing opportunities on the market right now to take advantage of this panic sell. And if you're a seller, stay on the sidelines, but definitely reach out still, and we can prepare a game plan so that when the market does return back to normal, we are ready to go. You can find my contact information in the description below. There's just a single link that you need to click, and then you can book a video call slot anytime during the week. I love having a face-to-face call with you guys, and that's the best way to really understand where you're coming from, what your short, mid, and long-term goals are, so that we can set you up for success and set up a game plan depending on which time in the year is the best time for you to make a move in the Calgary real estate market. Thanks for sticking to the end. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in tomorrow's Calgary Real Estate Market Report.